She sells seashells by the seashore. How many seashells does she sell?
Seashell.
Oh, now you got me.
That's
Yeah, turn off the bass on my end. I want to sound like a middle schooler.
what kind of middle schooler?
Heath Cordes.
So
I don't know. I'm fine. Hello, hello. Welcome to this episode of Odds Game Live. My name is Matt Banwart. This is an ASMR experience. You all look lovely today. Thank you so much for tuning in. On today's episode, we will be exchanging our deepest, darkest secrets. Are we live right now? Oh, well. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, and all perverts of all gender. Uh,
perverts of all
yeah,
gender.
perverts
We
of all
know what
gender.
gender you're talking about.
Yeah, well, hey, you know which one. You
The
know which
man
one.
gender.
The you pick. I don't even know all the genders. There's so many, and that's a great thing that I love.
I love how many genders there are.
I go, quite frankly, I wake up every day. I go, let's keep adding them. I mean, why
We don't
stop?
need we need more gender.
We're just getting to the good part. That sounds great. Hey, I'll tell you my favorite gender. It's the one with tits.
Yeah. Men.
Yeah, men. Yeah, yeah.
That's what they're calling them nowadays.
Men with tits.
Men with tits.
Men with tits.
Maybe it's tits with men.
Tits with men. My two favorite things. I said, who's that
Yeah.
man and why is he breastfeeding at the airport in public?
Isn't it annoying that we have to deal with women?
I agree. We have the absolute honor of dealing with women. I think we're privileged and blessed.
Are you sure this doesn't look tilted?
I don't know. I think at this point you just got to go. I think at this point we're live.
Uh, that's true.
Yeah.
I could record it. Can you press record on it?
On what?
Here.
Fuck. Yeah. Is it a red?
Yeah. Try not to knock anything off. Is currently there he goes. Hopefully the quality is much better. I look a little whiter than everything else, my camera, but that's fine.
Yeah. And you have a great tan in real life.
Yeah. I wonder. Yeah, you don't really see it. I look a little
Yeah.
pallid. Pallid.
Palid. No, yeah. You're glowing right now.
Thank you, man.
You've been hitting the sun. You've been going outside recently.
I've been sunning myself.
What do you mean by sunning? Sunning yourself sounds sexual.
Yeah. I've been out there just putting rays on my balls.
You've been butt bleaching in the sun. Do you do that?
Yeah, there's something very self-centered about tanning yourself, where you're like, I'm out here and I'm getting better every minute I'm out here.
You just outside to get hotter for no reason.
Yeah,
It,
you're
it,
using the sun to make yourself hotter.
it's also the laziest way of getting hot because it's just laying down.
Yeah.
It's just laying down and being like, well, I'm gonna get hotter by laying, which is doesn't seem like it would work, but it actually works very well.
Yeah, I mean, that's all we need is sun.
That's true.
But the thing is that we get too much of it. If you're really poor, then you
Yeah.
have to be outside and
Yes.
but if you get the right amount of it,
Yeah.
you can always tell when people have bodies that aren't real, when they just did ridiculous things.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Just
It's like a
being-
turnoff.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
like they're made out of air.
Yeah,
Like
dude.
actors that work out.
It's a mat. I whenever like you'll see a girl start putting shit in her lips, and it's always just like, oh god, game over. It's game over for you. Because it always starts off as like a little something in the lips or a little something in the cheek, a little, and then like you're like you just know like 20
You
years
just
down the line.
can't help it. You're like, I have a hammer, everything's a nail. I can change my looks. That
Yeah.
means even if people don't think I'm as hot as before, anyone that does think I'm hot, it means I earned it. So it means more because you worked for it.
Wow, I never thought of it like that. That it's okay if less people think I'm hot because the people that do realize that it was like. Do you really think that? Do you think that's what it is? Do you think that's the mentality that
They want to
drives people to
control
that?
it. No, I don't think they're thinking two steps ahead like that. I think they are just like,
What you were doing, you were projecting depth into their shallow thoughts. Like you were like,
it's
they're actually
beautiful.
genius savants. It's actually they're doing it for the respect of the art form.
They're doing it because they're craving approval.
Yeah, that's what it really is. That is what it really is, probably. More
Mhm.
likely than not.
Yeah, I think they're just like, I can be hot, so let me do as much as I can to be hot because I really want it. And just because you work for it doesn't mean you're
Yeah.
gonna get it. Like that's one of those things where more work doesn't equal. Like we have this
Yeah.
insane work ethic as humans to just put all our effort into whatever we want to get.
Yeah.
And if your thing is like you fixate on hot, then you're fucked because it's a stupid thing to want and it's not something that's useful. Like the
It
work,
actually serves very little utility.
yeah, you're just hot or you're not.
That's a great point. Do you know what looks maxing is? Are you on this?
Yeah, I'm mewing right now.
Dude, dude, did you just mog me?
I judged you
You walked in, I
for
go, you see
having
this?
a slightly smaller head than mine.
Yeah, dude. No, I love, dude. Looks maxing memes are like my favorite thing right now. I think I call them Gen Alpha memes. They might technically still be Gen Z. I think Gen Alpha looks maxing memes are like my favorite thing on the internet right now. There's people with jawlines or whatever. I
Can't
like,
have them.
yeah, you need a producer to do the switching for you,
I
man.
know it's so distracting to be in a conversation and try to switch.
Yeah.
Oh, now you're talking.
Whoa, hey, my turn. All right, seashells,
My turn.
seashells.
But if there was a producer, it's so easy. You just have to press a button
Yeah,
and
it's
that's a
so
look.
weird. I hate like I was talking to someone the other day and they were like, I'm a professional podcast producer. And I was like, oh, are you like a videographer, like audio engineer? And they were like, no, I don't know how to set up any of the equipment. It's already good to go. I love your commitment to the detail here. All right, Chad, if you're watching this live, tap in. Does the screen look uneven on the main shot? Hey, tap in live. Put some F's in the chat right now if you're watching this live. F's in the chat if it's uneven. W's if it is even. All right. Let me see it.
I feel like it'd be perfect more like that.
All right. W's in the chat if you think it's perfect. F's if you don't think it is. All right, gang. Tap in. Tap in. Mm. I see it now. Now I really see it. You're right. That's fair. Yeah, you should put a book underneath it. If you're streaming and now we are balancing the tripod. Oh, is that worse?
That's better.
All right. I think it's also inherently going to be impossible to balance because of all lenses have a slight fisheye to them. A little bit of mathematics, science for anyone tuned in. They're a little concave, I believe, is the word of the day. That's a triple vowel score for you there if you're into Scrabble. An O, an A, and a E. I almost said V. That's not a vowel. There it is, Hans. Now you look beautiful.
You think so?
No, but I was being polite.
This is like people that do too much plastic surgery.
Yeah, this is the equivalent of someone doing too much plastic surgery. It's you and your camera. You're enough. You don't have to mew anymore.
Really?
Sorry, can't talk. Too busy mewing. Mewing for the fans. All right, put some W's in the chat if you've ever jelked. If you don't know what jelking is, go Google it. It's like mewing but for your dick.
So what do you have to do to your dick to make that better?
I've never looked it up. I just know the term, but I'm not a jelker, although I very well could be. If I if anyone has any good jelking tips, feel free to drop them in the comments below. I'd love to jelk like the pros.
Now there's a red dot over me.
Ah, it's because you're Arabic. Is that the people with the red dots? Is that correct
The
racism?
Hindus.
Oh, my bad. All right. I'm sorry to the Hindi community that I may have offended. My apologies.
Okay, you think that's good?
I think that's great. I think you should smoke more weed.
You just want me to relax.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm
Want
at.
me to turn on the fan?
No, I'm great. You can if you want.
It's a bit of a sauna pot.
All right.
Okay.
I like the sauna. Pressure makes diamonds. We need the heat and the
Yeah.
pressure.
Do you think like you should do other things besides saunas? You can't just sit in a sauna and hope to be great. You got to do a sauna as like a
Yeah.
topper. It's like a good mixer.
That's a great way to phrase that. Kinesiologists all over the world are stunned at your insight.
Who's kinesiology?
That's the study of the human body. So I think I my little brother's like a gym rat. He's huge. He works out.
He's a Jew rat.
Gym rat.
Uh,
Yeah, I would never say Jew rat. That's redundant.
Gym rat sounds like a racist term for Italians.
Gym rat? No,
Yeah.
no, no. Italians don't go to the gym. They're too busy eating mom's spaghetti and stabbing Irish people in the
You
streets.
think Eminem's Italian?
No, no, that's very funny.
Marshall Mathers, he's probably English.
Marshall Mathers, probably, yeah, probably English, maybe a little Irish. I
That's
just
such
assume
a
he's,
great rap real name.
yeah,
It's
Marshall
sort of
Mathers.
hard, but it's sort of like, oh, that could be a real name. It's kind of lame.
When I first heard it, I thought it was nerdy, but then it grew on me.
Yeah.
Because Marshall is like, I mean,
It
Marshall
commands
wears
respect
glasses.
because marshals are what the French army does for their
Oh,
generals when they're awesome. They're like, you're a marshal now. Field marshal.
you're right.
There's a lot of military connotations to the word marshal.
Damn, I guess you have a point there. And
I
Mathers.
thought,
Also, the alliteration in the name is just nice, just pleasant,
yeah,
you know?
it's a real. I mean, it comes from a family that's probably like linguistically good.
Oh, yeah, you think so?
Yeah.
Yeah, that would, yeah, I mean, I guess it does make sense. Do you think they all have alliterations? Do you think it's like Marshall and Macy
Mommy
Mathers?
Macy.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Mama Mathers.
They're
Ma-
all M's.
yeah, yeah, it's a whole M family, just
Yeah.
lineage. It's,
Instead of the
yeah.
N word, they just say the M word.
The M words, Mick.
Migger.
No. That's so funny. That's just what do you call someone in the Mathers family? It's like, damn, there they go, rapping again.
Those miggers be crazy.
I'm not gonna say it. I'm not gonna say it because I look the way I do, but I do want to say it because it sounds really fun.
I
It's,
probably shouldn't say it.
no, it's
Too much
like,
fun.
yeah, someone's gonna change that sound real easily.
It doesn't sound that much different.
And what's his oh god, no, his daughter's name doesn't make sense. It's
Haley Mathers.
Haley Mathers sounds nice.
Yeah.
That's pleasant.
It sounds like a Black Lives Matter slogan.
Haley Mathers. Marshall's Lives Matters. Marshall's Lives Matters. It's triple. You have an L in the middle there.
So what do
Marsh.
you think about the Napoleonic Wars?
I think they underrated in the world of history. I don't think we talk about it enough.
I think it's right at the brink of like history and prehistory, where it's like, oh, I don't know anything about what you guys are about. Like
Yeah,
Sumerians riding chariots, throwing spears at each other.
yeah,
That's foreign to me, but they're like having guns. They fought in a way that no one else fought
yeah.
because they were at this weird
You
point
really
of
dived into this. I
technology.
love this. You're right. You're right. It is though. Yeah,
And they did this marching in lines thing, and they were basically like just like blanketing like all at once,
yeah.
and they fire again,
It was like a
and
gun phalanx.
yeah,
You know.
yeah, and Napoleon figured it out quicker than everyone else.
Yeah.
And
No.
that's where like a general is actually useful, not like nowadays where they just have to like do PR and order the right amount of
Yeah.
Kleenexes.
That's very. Yeah. Yeah. They're checking in on food rations and dumb shit, yelling at cadets or whatever the
Yeah,
hell. That's a
making them
great
clean the
point.
toilet.
Yeah, back when generals like actually like the IQ of someone had a very real. I mean, not to say that people in the military aren't the smartest
I
people,
mean,
but
who's the most popular general now? Where we're like, oh, look at how he did Baghdad. He fully
yeah, I don't think there
surrounded
is.
them.
There really isn't.
There
No.
was Alexander the Great back in the day with
Yeah,
his companion cavalry.
I'm trying to think. The last. Oh, who was the guy during the Afghanistan? He was
His
black.
name was, oh, really?
People wanted him to run for president.
Colin Powell.
Yeah, that's who it is. Yeah,
He
is it?
wasn't a general. He was Secretary of State.
Oh, really?
I think
But
so.
didn't he serve? Doesn't he
He
military?
always wore a uniform.
Yeah. So yeah, he had a military background.
Yeah, he's like the head military guy that's in the White House.
Yeah, General Powell. I think he was a general.
Yeah, he was in the first Desert Storm, and then in the
Oh,
George
okay.
W. Bush, he was the Secretary of State, which is like the people that are in charge of the military.
Yeah, everyone wanted to. My dad wanted him to run for president as a kid.
Colin Powell.
Yeah, dude, my dad was like all in on that. He was like
That's what
just
we
someone
love about
populous and
humanity.
fun, you
All
know.
we need is someone that does plays by the rules and strong and
Uh,
calm.
yes, actually, I very much would love to have someone who plays by the rules and is strong and calm. That's where I'm at right now. I'm tired of the presidency being fun to talk about. I liked it when it was boring and people were just like, it's a thing that's happening, you know? And then you'd get once or twice during the presidency when they actually did something. You'd be like, oh, you're only mad for 2 weeks every 4 years, you know?
Yeah.
You'd be like, yeah, they passed that one bill. And then that was it. That's all you had to care about. But now you have to, feels like every other week or every other day, someone's getting mad about something the president
It's
does or
not
doesn't do.
how it should be.
The presidency should be boring.
It's like if I had to pay attention to the sewage cleaning union as much as the presidency, like you
Yeah.
should have your shit figured out. You shouldn't need everyone to like
Did you
chime in.
was the shit thing meant to be a joke? 'Cause that's brilliant.
It's a bit that I
Do that
it's
on
an
stage?
idea.
Is that a bit?
No,
I'm down.
I just started it right now.
All right. Yeah, that's funny. The idea of like the sewage cleaning unit. Yeah, get your shit figured out. No, surprisingly enough, plumbers do have their shit figured out, as that's what they work with all the time.
Yeah, and it's probably really complicated.
Yeah.
It's not like just passing a spending bill every once in a while.
Yeah, I have a lot of like admiration for like infrastructure and government. By the way, thrilling conversation.
Why? Because I'm on my phone.
No, I know. I'm just no. We're talking about infrastructure,
Oh yeah.
dude. I'm not autistic, or maybe I'm a little. I'm probably autistic. But when Biden proposed the high speed rail thing when he was like running for president across the U.S.,
Yeah.
that shit had me thrilled.
High speed rail.
Yeah, it was like that. They, dude, no, I just love reasonable and cheap transportation. Because at one point, the high speed rail was like, it was going to be 3 hours from Chicago to New York, leaving every 30 minutes. And I was like, like, as a comedian, if it was like, like under
Imagine the
$50.
cultural exchange, the transfer of ideas,
Oh, yes.
sexual diseases.
It's actually, hey, and that's the beauty of trains. It's easier to join. It's easier to join the 2 feet club than the mile high club, you know?
Yeah, gonorrhea is gonna love the new high speed rail.
Did it? Would you join the Mile High Club? Is that on the list of fantasies? Or have you?
No, it just seems dangerous and
Yeah.
uncomfortable.
It would be cool in a private jet, but I think on on like an actual plane, I think it'd just feel gross.
It'd be cool if it's someone you met just for the first time and you did it there. Because if it's someone like your girlfriend,
Yeah.
then you're used to certain things and you're gonna
Yeah.
try to do the things that you do
Yeah.
that you've developed a habit for.
The thrill of that would be insane. As far as like thrilling sex goes, Mile High Club with a stranger you met at the airport. I mean, that would be like, hey, the danger's out of this roof. Because if you're willing to do that, you're probably not disease free. But crazy good time. I mean,
Yeah. So people that are gonna do that are probably
yeah.
gonna have dangerous genitals.
Yeah. I mean, you could tell your grandkids about that. And I think you're legally obligated to pass down that good of a story.
Isn't it weird that that doesn't happen more often?
Mile High Club?
Just random people just having sex with each other?
I don't know, dude. That's what dating apps are for. I think they've sped up the.
But like people nowadays are having less sex than ever before.
That is crazy to think about.
Because we're not in relationships. I think people fuck when they're in relationships slightly more than just
think you're
if
right.
you're out here trying.
I think you're right. Yeah, I think that's correct. I think I have way more when I'm in a
That's the
relationship.
only metric that matters.
Sex.
That and social mobility.
Why do you say that? Why those two metrics?
Because sex is important. Like it's cool. It's like pleasure. It's like how much
Yeah.
fun are you guys having? Because we
Yeah.
don't need to survive anymore. It should all be about fun. And the
Brilliant.
fact that we're not having it is like, it's just a waste. We have all this economy and shit, and it's like so inefficient.
And infrastructure, like we talked about.
Yeah.
That
And
is true. I wonder if there's a correlation between the quality of infrastructure you have and the amount of sex a society has. Because it should be directly correlated. The amount and higher quality. This is so lame. We're like solving the matrix right now. We're like, if only we had better plumbing, then I could finally get puss.
If only there was a way that I could turn my fascination of trains into more sex.
if we'd get women from New York here, there'd be significantly more sluts in Austin.
Well, you know how people are like online and they're like, oh, I met a guy in Duluth
Yeah.
and then they have to go all the way to Duluth because they're just
Yeah, and no one wants to be in central Minnesota.
because they met this person that's at the right place for them at that moment.
Yeah.
But if they were like, hey, why don't you take the 5-hour car road trip you're gonna spend
Yeah.
to go to Duluth to go to the local bar and just drink a beer
Yeah.
and just stare at people,
Dude,
and then someone is gonna try.
Someone is going to. It's got
Especially
to
if you're a girl.
really, as a woman, it's so easy to make happen.
Yeah, like within 5 hours. If you're at a bar for 5 hours,
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
you found it. If you're at a bar, if you're like a reasonably attractive, actually, not even. If you're just a woman at a bar for 5 hours and you are eye
you
fucking
gotta
every
go
dude
to the
that
right
comes in,
bar.
yeah, they're out there.
Yeah.
And people are drunk enough on 6th Street where you could be a fucking 3. I mean, and you would be putting up numbers.
Yeah.
Just try a little.
Yeah. But they don't want to. The thing is that people
This is, by the way, this is the most autistic conversation. we like trains, and it's not because of mobility.
What is the most efficient way to have sex? It's definitely not a dating app and finding someone who's desperate and sad
I think-
in a faraway city.
I think people would have crazy sex on train. I think it'd be all the time.
It's so narrow. It's so easy to find who's having sex. You
Yeah.
just have to walk the whole thing.
But I like her justification for trains isn't like we need to better travel for work and for lower class people to have better access to fast and good transportation. We're just like, nah, dude. If we got trains, we would finally be fucking, dude. Dude, we're
open
not
up
obsessed with
our-
infrastructure. We're just horny.
It open up our sexual opportunities.
Yeah, significantly. Well,
Yeah, imagine all the chicks that we meet because we need to be perfect. We're like panda bears. We need like the right setting, and it doesn't always happen. And people in your city don't always do it for you.
wow.
It's just like we have such
Yeah.
specific needs, and if you get rid of travel, then it's just like
Yeah.
you
That's
just
the
open
last one.
yourself up.
Travel's the last thing I think holding us back because
Yeah.
transportation of information and conversation, we have phones and internet. It's so easy. But to physically be somewhere is the only thing we have like holding us back from infinite pussy.
It's the last frontier.
The last frontier. We just need high speed rail.
Digitally, we're fine. Now we just need to figure out how to move our stupid meat bodies.
Yeah. Fuck.
It's such a waste.
Oh, I had something I wanted to say on all this and then I forgot it. Oh well, it'll come back if it's important.
Let's listen back to it. Maybe you'll.
Please don't. You're gonna pull up the echo.
Yeah.
Infinite pussy. Yeah, I'm so glad that line's on the internet. Me going infinite pussy. Make that a fucking meme, huh? Meat bodies is also a great thing. And now we're back to the part. I don't know, dude.
It's gonna go on forever.
I remember what it was. Here it
Okay.
is. This is not going to be worth it now. You were talking about like the time you take to travel to hook up or see a stranger, right? Let's say you go to Duluth, Minnesota, you have to drive 5 hours or whatever
Yeah.
because you live in Kenosha, Wisconsin. That's roughly. I'm so Midwestern.
That's Midwestern lore right now.
Yeah, look it up. That's roughly 5 hours away, right?
This is canon.
Yeah, you're a man in Kenosha who wants to make love to a woman in Duluth, Minnesota. The 5 hours of driving, is it worth it? Now, I think the same thing about fuck, I lost it again. No, it's about when men go to the strip club. Because I was talking to some guy the other day, and he was like, I put $600 down at the strip club. And I'm like, dude, you don't got money like that. And he was like, I know, but one of the strippers gave me a hand job. And I was like, sure, but like if you went on a date with a woman online and you spent $600 on her on that date, I mean, you would have to really mess it up socially to not get crazy. If you took your girlfriend on a date and you spent $600, the same amount that guy did at the strip club, it would be the craziest date of your life.
Yeah.
Like you could have a really crazy date for $600.
Yeah.
But if you would have put that same sort of effort into like a date as you would to the strip club, I think you would get a higher ROI.
But the thing is that it's easy to go to a strip club and be like, oh, this is where I put the money in.
Yeah.
And then I get the sex.
The panties.
The thing with real life is that it's a gamble. And some people don't like the unknown. They like to be like, oh, 1 equals 1. They just like the straightforwardness of it. They don't have the mental energy
That's fair.
to play the game.
I guess. You know what? All right.
But it's like, to me, it's like you can change yourself for any game you want to play. Like, why are you
infinite
so... Yeah, I guess some people have different strengths and skills, but
That's a good point. But I was going to say, if you're in a relationship with someone, though, let's say, right?
so what's
Some
what's your sex thing like? What's your sex
what's my sex life,
strategy?
sex strategy?
Sex game.
You know what? I used to. I This is so funny. My parents are going to listen to this.
Do they
Uh,
listen to everything?
they do. They do.
Wow.
Mom, Dad, close your ears. We're about to get real.
Sorry, Mr. and Mrs. Bantworth.
Banwart, Banwart.
Banwart.
Everyone, dude, this shit is so funny. Like, even people I know here that I hang out with every day, they're like, Matt, Banwart? And I'm like, it's Banwart.
Okay, so there's the worth and the warth. You could go two ways with the ban. I think it's the T's at the end of each syllable.
Wart.
Is it
Wart.
wart?
Wart.
It's either a T, a TH, or a Z, nothing.
Yeah.
I could be ban, bant, or banth, and war, wart, or worth.
Yeah.
So there are 9 permutations of that.
And then some people say, because I'm from Iowa, so people go Barnworth or
Yeah,
Barnwart.
the
I get
vowel.
they throw an R in there, barn, because they
Barn.
assume since I'm from Iowa, barn.
Oh, because there's a lot of barn raisers in Iowa.
Yeah, yeah, huge. Both my parents grew up on farms, so
So they just are there actually last names that start with barn?
no, I thought I know it. Barnes,
Yeah, but
Barnes
that's
and
so
Noble.
funny that they're like, oh, this guy's a barn.
Yeah, they just assume.
That's not a thing, like historically, culturally.
Yeah, no, they just assume. They assume this motherfucker loves. He loves barns. Look at this little Iowa
That's
boy.
a good old born and raised
Yeah,
barn
I'm not.
child.
I'm not a pig. I just smell
Barn
like
kid.
one.
Barn boy.
Now, the old sex strategy. Here it is. Here it is. Ladies and gentlemen, take notes. Here's the old sex strategy, guaranteed to get you sloppy toppy ASAP. I'm just really forward.
You just say what you're thinking and
Uh,
take it or leave it.
there's a little nuance to it, but like sometimes like the other day, like some girl was like, "Well, you know what they say, everything's bigger in Texas," and I was like, "Damn right." Like I just like, you know what I mean? I was just like, "Oh yeah, I'm very yeah, on the nose is correct. I'm very on the nose with like."
You're like, these are my intentions.
Yeah, like I'm like I'll make like a dirty joke, or someone will set up a dirty joke, and you'll make it, and then they'll be like, "Oh, for real?" And
Oh
I'll be
my
like,
God, you're so bad.
"No, not even." But if someone says something and they're just like, "Oh, here's a dirty joke or whatever," I just make it, and they're like, "Are you being serious?" Instead of being like, "Oh no, I'm not," I'm just like, "I am." And they'll be like, "Oh, okay, cool." So it's like, I mean, it's either that or it's like, no, and then you're like, "All right, well, we're not on the same page here." The card falls.
So you're just
Very straightforward.
yeah, you just like doing that.
Yeah, but I'm not getting out that much.
So you do like a lot of fun things with it where you're like, and that's what I'm gonna because
Sure.
there's like a fine line. You don't want to like overdo it because then it just becomes
Then you're a freak.
yeah.
Then you're like just too diabolically horny.
But you do it like as a bit,
Yeah, yeah, it's a bit, and then
like
like
dad jokes,
yeah, dude, I love dad jokes.
huh? Yeah, you're a real barn warner.
Okay. I'm a koala in the sense that I'm spreading gonorrhea like crazy. I have hand tremors, by the way, if you don't know that about me. I was trying to build a barn out of cards. I thought that'd be really cool. Do you Hans, do you remember we did a show together in like 2020 here? Do you remember that? At like a movie theater? It was like 2019 or 2020. I was in Austin.
In
Do you
Austin?
remember that? That's when I had short hair.
It was 2017 when I was in Austin, or 2016.
I started comedy in 2016. I was in Austin in 2018 for the first time. Were you here? It was in 2020, I think. You're doing a show we did a show together at a movie theater, and I think like Georgetown.
Oh yes, that's Spencer Cavan's show and Dean Stanfield
Yeah,
that
no,
they do.
that one. It wasn't that one. We did another
Okay.
show. I did that show after it. We did a show together at a movie theater. I was wondering if I figured you didn't remember it.
I wasn't here in 2020.
I think you're just 2021.
2021, yeah. When I first moved here.
Yeah, I think it's when you first moved here because you were
You know.
still living. You were still in a van.
Yeah, we
'Cause
did a show in a movie theater.
yeah, and then afterwards you were like, because you had a show in Bastrop the next day, and I was originally on it. I was just traveling through too, and you were like, "Can you just show in Bastrop?" And I was like, "Sure," but I'm traveling in from Chicago, and you were like, "Oh, I just want to take my car because I'm living in it."
Oh, yeah, that was Bastrop. That was the film alley. That was
Yeah,
Yeah, we did the show in the movie theater in Bastrop. Is that what you're talking
I
about?
think it was the day before, but yeah, I don't know. We did. I think we did like 2 shows together in a movie
In
theater.
movie theaters?
You don't remember? That's so funny. I figured you didn't.
I remember some of it. What part is it that
I
you
just I just
remember?
remember we did a show together in a movie theater, and the guy was like, "Oh, I didn't promote," and then there was like maybe 10 people in a movie theater, and they're all like, it was like
Was it
a
like sort of far away?
yeah, it was.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It was like an actual movie theater. Like Film Alley is like a room
Oh
inside
no,
of a theater
it was
in
an
Bastrop.
actual movie
It was an
theater.
actual movie theater. I remember this show.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
and
remember sitting there, and they were like in a 5 on a dice, where it was like everyone in every corner, one person dead in the couple, and it was just like
they weren't seated properly.
yeah, it was like the worst. But I remember like having a lot of fun with it.
Yeah.
It was a good time.
Yeah, they need to stop doing that with the whole movie theaters thing.
Yeah, yeah, it is weird.
That's not a great place for it.
It's one of the worst places for a comedy. Not one of the worst places,
If
but it's
you're
not
trying to
optimal.
design the worst room for stand-up comedy, what would you do? I would make it like a lobby in a museum. It's just like 5 stories tall.
I wanted to make a joke there, but then I was like, I probably shouldn't.
What
Uh,
about the Holocaust?
no, I was gonna say Sunset Strip, but I really like that club.
It's just a meme at this point.
Yeah,
The
that's
ceilings aren't that high.
yeah, I know. Yeah, I was there the other day, and I was like, it's not terrible. I
It's
was like, this
just
is a great
it's just
place.
something you can say about it. But I'm glad that like people are noticing like, hey, having a high ceiling is not a good thing. Because so many places are like,
Yeah,
we make it work. It's like, no, this could be way better if you there was a way to lower ceilings. But ceilings are hard because you don't
I
want that
love
shit
that.
dropping on people.
I love that dedication to the detail of like small things in comedy that affect the show. And I feel like in Austin, people are so prevalent. And I love that comedians and like even like the staff at Sunset are like in on the meme of like Sunset ceilings are too high or they need curtains or whatever. Like I love how like even the staff there know it. And I love how it's just like common knowledge with like comedians and people in the space or even like fans of comedy. That's like comedy clubs should have lower ceilings. Like every club should be
The
like
stage is
comedy on
too high
stage.
there.
Sunset Strip?
Yeah,
I don't know, maybe. Or are you
it's way
saying
too
that?
high. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it is a little high.
They're looking at your shoes. If they look straight, they're looking at your shoes in the front row.
Yeah, and I
That's
always
way
have,
too much respect to give a guy telling dick jokes. Is to be like, oh, and what else, master?
I
It's the wrong energy.
I love when I just did a show, it was a few months back in whatever arcade comedy theater in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and barely anyone showed up to the show because I have no fans. But it was like they had like student section bleachers. Like I like that when the crowd looks down on you. I like that.
Auditorium style.
Yeah, auditorium style can be nice. I like when they're looking down on you. Something about that
Mm.
feels nice. It feels appropriate. Maybe I'm degrading the comedian in that sense because I'm putting him in a
Yeah,
lower
you're like
platform.
fighting for your life.
I kind of like
Don't
it though.
attack me.
Ah. But I like looking up at a crowd more than I like looking down at a crowd. You know what I mean? Or is that
I
just
like
me?
just being awkward. So I could do that anywhere.
Really?
Just make any situation awkward and then be like, okay, now that we're all awkward, let's think about cats or dogs.
Now you can cook.
Yeah.
Finally, your forte. Do you have a favorite comedy club outside of Austin that you're like, I just like the way it's built?
Comedy Works in Denver.
Oh, I've heard so many great things about that one.
Yeah, it's deceptively big. It's
Really?
like, yeah, they rate the first floor is down here, and the second floor is like up here, and then it slowly goes up towards the back.
Really?
Yeah,
So
so it
it's
just feels like you're in this small room.
but they're looking down at you, right? Just barely.
No, even the tallest people are like slightly below your eye level
Oh,
or
okay.
at eye level.
That's really nice.
But there's like this, so it's like this square, this room. Uh, this is a room right here,
Yes.
and you're performing right here. This is the stage, and then it sort of goes into the back right here,
Gotcha.
slightly raised. But you don't even feel that this is a completely separate room. It just feels like they're right there. Like it
Yeah.
looks like everyone's right there.
Yeah.
So it's pretty crazy.
One of my favorite clubs is I love the Comedy Cabin in Janesville, Wisconsin. It's like a random small comedy club. Have you ever done comedy on state in Madison?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like that. It's like a comedy on
Oh, I've
state
never
but
been
half the
there
size.
actually.
Really?
Yeah.
You gotta go. If you ever get the chance, do it.
Okay.
They have an open mic that sells out every Wednesday. That club is so good.
Holy shit.
And they're just a great comedy club. But Yeah, Comedy Cabin in Janesville, Wisconsin is like it's also just like that where it's like exactly what you said, where it's like the front row is like short tables and the back row is like higher tables. Similar, they do a similar effect just with the table heights alternate as they move back,
Yeah.
and I really like that. I think that's
Yeah.
great.
Because it makes it feel closer. Because there's people like on every
Yep.
incline. Yeah, I like good comedy shows.
Dude, I like bad comedy. I like when a show is so bad you just give up on it. I mean, but like you give up in a way that you're like, I'm still doing this,
Yeah.
but you just have no other chance but to like, really, really try.
Yeah. So, what's your favorite room?
In Austin,
Yeah.
well, I'll do in Austin because on the road I already talked about those two.
Comedy on State.
Comedy on State, which I've never actually done a weekend at. I've just done the open mic there. I'll admit my weaknesses. Uh, I'll admit I'm a fraud.
That's a great
Um,
club.
Janesville, Wisconsin, I really like. I like the improvs and the funny bones are all laid out really well. In in Austin, I really like Black Rabbit. I love those dirty little like not even dirty, just like black box theater rooms.
Yeah.
I like a good like
It's
50
like,
seater club.
yeah, it's like from an olden time. I like that.
I like yeah, it feels like the old like you know what? It's the look that a lot of like small improv theaters have.
It's tight. You can squeeze as many people in there.
Yeah,
It's not up to fire codes.
I love that. It's the best.
Yeah.
I really like that look. I love the little black box theater. I just did a show at a not even like a once again, it's mainly like an improv club, but it was the Backline in Omaha. And it's just like the Black Rabbit here, where it's like small 50 seater.
Yeah.
There was probably 40 people in the room and it like every laugh is like the crowd is like, people are jammed in, right? So it's like they're stacked and like but it's also like it's stacked on every level where like every laugh is like hits you so quick, you know?
Yeah.
Where it's like you and like if you want to interact with the crowd at all, like you can because it's like everyone is there and it's not like you only have to work with the front row, you can work with the, you know, four rows that are there, four rows that are there, four rows that are there. It feels really intimate. I like that. I like when room's intimate.
Yeah. I feel like that way you can do real comedy.
Yeah.
Because then you can like talk to them and like say, hey, this is who I am. This is what I feel about things. And it's not like, oh, this guy's like giving a speech or something.
Yeah, it feels like a dialogue.
Yeah.
I think that's when comedy's the best, is when well, not always. I guess it depends, but when it feels like a dialogue, it's something very special about it.
Yeah. When you're like, you know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? Right? Isn't that crazy? And then it's like, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Oh.
then it's like, oh, yeah, you said something. You contributed.
Do you have a it's been a while since I've seen you do a long your set. Do you do any crowd work?
Yeah, I've been known to ply the crowd. I've been known to sow the seeds into the crowd's fertile minds.
Because I saw you do a show at Zany's Chicago, and you were, and I guess it depends on the night, but you were just doing, you did mainly material, and it was all just like very, very tight stand up all
Oh,
throughout.
thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I felt like Chicago was a fun city. You know, they're like a little tougher to perform for, and you know,
Really?
yeah, I uh,
I just moved from there.
I enjoyed my time there. You know, I learned a lot. But yeah, I mean, I do crowd work sometimes. I just don't
Huge.
really care about
What's your favorite
the
question for
audience.
crowd work?
Where are you from?
Where? Yeah, same here. Same here. I love. Where are you
But I feel
from?
like
Big
I'm doing
hit.
it ironically. I'm like, hey, this is what comedians say, right?
That's my problem with the amount of crowd work clips online. Every time I do it, I'm just like in my head, I'm like,
I'm doing a TikTok now.
oh yeah, oh it's literally like it's like all right, here's the clip, here's the clip, here it is. Yeah, it's the best is when you can do something that's not like that. If something ever naturally just happens, where you're like, dude, I have to acknowledge how weird this person looks or something. Where you can be like, well, like what motivated you to do that? I love when comics ask for the drink that someone has. That's a fun one. I don't know. What are you drinking? Is that? Timeless classic.
Why? Because it's so inconsequential and it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, I mean, but isn't that the nature of all crowd work?
Yeah.
I don't know. I've been leaning into crowd work more and more, and I hate myself for it.
I think a lot of crowd work is bad, and I don't really like doing it unless I have
Same,
to.
same.
I think it just means you haven't written enough.
Yeah. No, that's
Because if there
exactly
was
what it
something
is.
funny, you would have written it down.
Wow. Yeah, that's how I feel too. There's comics that like I'm trying to think. I don't want to get myself in trouble here.
There's comics like fucking.
If you go on stage and you're doing a 10 to 15-minute set and you intentionally leave time open for crowd work, that's crazy to me.
You
I
didn't prepare to do the time you were assigned to do.
Yeah, exactly. If I book someone to do 10 minutes on a show, or I see someone do 10 minutes on a show and they do crowd work in a 10-minute spot, unless you are a crowd work comic and that's your whole shtick, fine. But I think that's insane. I'd only do it if I'm doing like 25 plus.
Yeah. I mean,
It's the only time I would do
sometimes
it.
the crowd needs to be crowd worked. That's just the right
Yes,
move.
that's correct. But it shouldn't be a significant portion of your
It shouldn't
act.
be a crutch. Some people use it as like, this is my thing. I gotta do the crowd work.
Yeah.
But, you know, well, I know a lot of people do the opposite, where they rely too much on the material.
Hmm. That's an issue too. I get
They just want you to talk to them. It's like a dad
Yeah.
that doesn't listen to you.
Well, I get annoyed with like, and you've since I've since when we first met to now, I think your delivery has gotten like I'm trying to think of a specific example. Because I saw you do a set the other day, and you do a great job with like putting emotion behind what you're saying.
Yeah.
Like I'm trying to think of a like you seem like genuinely grossed out by things or like excited about things. Like I was like a few months back, I saw you do it at the Vulcan. You're doing the uh like you get excited when you tell some jokes, right?
Yeah.
And I like when someone like puts like an emotion behind a line. Oh, it was the squirting joke where you're like you're squirting for anything. You're like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I like that. I like when there's like emotion behind a joke or like some sort of like inflection, or like the delivery matters. I think some comics I listen to and like even great friends of mine, it feels like they're just on stage being like, if my joke is so good, my delivery doesn't have to matter.
That's arrogance. That's cockiness.
Yeah, and it's by the way, maybe that works for a 5 minute set.
It's like what? You're too good to have emotions.
Yeah,
Like you're
exactly.
too good to feel. You want them to feel the joke, but you're not willing to feel it yourself.
Yeah, I mean, I can't stand like maybe this is because I've been doing comedy so long. If you're doing like any time longer than 10 minutes, I want you to like get mad about something, even if it's like fake stage mad. You know what I mean? Like be
Yeah.
like if you say you're annoyed with something, don't say it. Like just be annoyed as you deliver it. I can't stand when comedians like just kind of like da 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 just like dun 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 dun. It's like no, like if you're like you know like show that you're mad, show that you're like be it. You know.
Yeah. Well.
Does that make any sort of sense? Am
Yeah.
I speaking in nonsense here?
I just. Yeah. I mean, ideally, if the best way to tell a joke is to feel it and have written a good joke, then you should do both. That's obviously the best.
Yeah.
If you have to have one or the other, it's not as good. It's better to have both.
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, I think I sometimes do good and sometimes do bad, but I
Same
don't think
here.
we have to use me as an example of
All
things.
right. Well,
But yeah,
sometimes
I'm
I
glad you
do
like
good.
that squirting joke because some people don't like that joke. So I'm glad
Really?
that that stuck out to you because I
Yeah.
think it's
No, I like
a
the.
difficult joke. It's a little simple, but
Oh, that's fine. I don't. I really like it. I think
it's not
people.
really saying anything.
Sorry, I should. My apology.
Yeah,
I should have chose a different joke. I realize now.
why?
I don't know. You know.
Because of the Kill Tony thing?
Yeah, but I whatever. I don't want to.
I think that.
I thought you killed that night, but
Were you
whatever.
there?
Yeah, I was there.
Oh.
I think anyone that was there feels the same way I do, where it wasn't even close.
I actually didn't even listen to Rick Diaz's set, so I don't know who won. I just was focused on
Yeah,
doing my part, but yeah, I mean, it's a tough joke to do in an arena, I think, because
yeah,
it's like a little like suspension of disbelief.
Yeah, it's a little bit of that too. It's
Yeah.
also hard. I mean, if you want to pass by, so you can just like say something. But I was talking to someone the other day of like someone was asking me to like we were doing like the hypothetical of like what if you were a Kill Tony regular, and I think my thing was I think for the first like 20 weeks it would be so cool,
Yeah.
and then it's like and then because I've been doing stand for 8 years, I probably have like 20 to 30 really killer 1 minute bits. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then after that you start to run out. And then after that it's like every week I have to have a new minute. And it's because I don't sometimes I write jokes that are 3 minute jokes. Sometimes I write jokes that are, one liners.
It kind of limits you in certain ways. You're just thinking of like, what's a quick pop I can get?
Yeah. How does it feel
But
to have you're taking a slight break
feels
before
great, man. I really needed it.
that's really what I want to
I'm
know.
taking risks now. I'm writing like stuff that I want to write.
That's gotta be so because that's what I was in my mind I was thinking it would be such a hell to have to. I mean, not that it would be an amazing honor. Don't get me wrong.
It's
But after a while, it would really catch up to me. Me personally.
yeah. I mean, it's like technically it doesn't have to be. It's as much work as you want to put into it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I definitely feel like I could have put more work into it. But I was working pretty hard.
No, I mean to be writing a minute a week though.
But yeah, I mean, also like the performance is important, and I
Yeah.
don't think that's like something that I'm really good at. But also, I think
But do you? I mean, you got to
it's
feel more
like
free
you
right
can
now,
write
right?
like 7 minutes a week, but like how much of that is going to be good enough to show to a million people
Exactly.
forever on the internet?
Exactly.
So there's like pressure too. So and I
Yeah.
was like flubbing jokes, and I was like
Ah.
a motivation kicked in where it's like, what
Yeah.
am I like?
Because people don't realize you're not like as a comedian, you're not writing like when you're like, oh, Louis C.K. is putting out an hour a year, like a half hour a year or whatever. They're not writing. They're not writing a minute a week. They have some weeks where they write very little or if nothing, and then
Yeah.
some weeks where they're writing like 7 minutes. It's just like
Yeah, like
every
if
day's a
that
hit.
minute that this is what I wrote. Like it's not good, but that I had to get through this week to get
Yeah.
to next week.
Yeah, when it's a week
But
to week basis is like to me, I personally would not I would sink so quick. Like the first
well, you never know how it's gonna go. You know, sometimes you can catch a good wave and like have a good time.
yeah
I don't think it's always.
yeah.
It depends on your character too. Like some people have styles that like are good.
I love you have to keep switching. It's so funny.
Because I'm not recording from your camera, so
Oh, okay.
I try to switch to you as much as possible so we get it. So in case
Oh,
we
you're
clip
good.
it up, you can have that footage.
Sweet.
But no, but I think what was I saying?
Let's go back to the more important thing. Do you feel more free? I mean, the weekly weight off the shoulder. Do you feel more
Yeah,
inspired,
it's like-
taking bigger risks, taking bigger swings again?
That week you have to be funny and you have
Yeah.
to be funny in a in a broad way, I guess. But yeah, I mean, I'm writing about like old people and
Huge.
yeah, it's pretty revolutionary stuff.
That's fun. Not enough old people material.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm having fun. I it's good to take a break, because I've been doing it for almost 3 years.
Whoa, really?
2 and 8 months or something.
So it's like what 150-minute sets in a row.
Yeah, I guess so. But yeah, I mean, I enjoy doing it. It's just like
Oh yeah.
if it's easy, like if I don't have to work that hard and do that, then
Yeah.
it'd be a fun thing to do. But obviously, like I need to work hard to have like a
Sure.
good minute. So like it was a lot of work. So I was like,
Yeah.
I'd rather not do this.
But the thing that people, yeah, but the thing people don't realize is I mean, we see like late night hosts their monologues every night, and we're like, well, they're doing good for 3 minutes, but
And
what
they
we
have a
don't,
lot of bombs.
but we don't realize is because
If you like compile all their bombs, it's like
yeah,
they never the comedy is
they
so
in fact, I would argue that late night hosts rarely hit, but 80% of the time they're missing.
making an effort and they're like, oh, that wasn't too bad.
And they're openly they're not writing their own. I mean, they have like
Yeah.
6 to 8 people just like trying their ass off, and then even then they still bomb.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like put that in perspective. Like if you're a comedy fan, like Really put that in perspective. Late
And
night
it's
hosts have
so
6 writers, and they're still bombing every
some
night.
people are like it's good that you don't have any restrictions. You can write topical jokes, you can write whatever jokes, you can write act outs, but it's like
No,
some people like the structure. I think the
the
structure,
restrictions make it easy.
yeah,
I
like not
think.
having restrictions is like what?
Yeah.
So like if you don't have any restrictions, the back of the audience's mind is always, why is this what you're talking about? What kind of person would bring this up?
Yeah.
But if you're just like I'm gonna do political jokes all the time, then they're like, oh yeah, of course.
Then you just have to follow
But if
whatever's on the news.
yeah, if there's no structure, they're like, oh, this guy's just obsessed with politics. All he can talk about is politics.
Yeah.
And then it's like what you choose to focus on matters
Yeah.
more, and they're more focused on what your subject matter is. But I also think like it's such a crazy opportunity to be able to do your comedy a week for a national audience.
Sure.
It's
Sure, but also like I mean, but like I was saying though, for late night hosts, they're doing it once a week, but they're doing it with a team of writers. And stand up, I think the thing about stand up is people expect stand up to be largely you. Stand up is like as a comedian. I mean, not that comedians don't have writers, but they're expecting your stand up to be your original thoughts as you as a person, as opposed to late night hosts. It's like, well, this is a thing that Johnny Carson is saying about current events, and he has a team of writers. So it's not like this isn't Johnny Carson's actual opinion on it. This is his writing staff writing jokes for him to say, and he's just reading off a prompter. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Stand up is so much harder because, like you said, you have the freedom of you can talk about any subject matter. So that really is overwhelming the amount of subjects. Plus, it has to be you to write it. You can't go to a team of 8 writers like Jimmy Kimmel or Jimmy Fallon does. Like it has to be your original joke written by you this week. Which
It's a
is like
crazy thing to put out to people and next. But
crazy.
I mean,
But you did 100 and I mean presumably around
yeah,
150 times. So
sometimes it
fucking
works. I'm sure there's like very talented comedians who would excel at that role.
well, you're one of them. I mean, you did it for
Well,
3 years is
yeah, I
nothing to
mean,
laugh at. I mean, that's
I
fucking
did it.
insane.
I have a lot of jokes from doing that I still use
Huge.
that were great jokes for me.
Huge.
So I had a good time doing it. I mean, a lot of people are obviously they don't like the quality of my comedy. So I mean,
No, I mean it's just
you guys gotta take that into account. But
let the
whatever, you
haters hate.
know.
No, I mean,
I
but
enjoyed
like,
doing it.
but
It
I
helped
think I
me
think
out.
I think you're in the next few months. I think you're about to write some. I have a feeling that the freedom you have right now is going to lead to you taking bigger swings. I just have a feeling, just because I've known you for a while
Well,
here.
thank you, man. I
I
appreciate
really
that.
think you're about to do some really creative and fun stuff with your act that you haven't done before. If you're not already doing that,
Well, thank you. I hope so.
yeah.
I'm gonna put more time into it. This is part of it. I think podcasts help. That's why I'm trying to get more into that. I mean, there's a reason why comedians do it.
The dialogue I have, yeah, I always write best off podcasts, or I'll say something, I'll be like,
When I
ooh,
go on stage after I did a podcast, it's more like a conversation. I'm more used to talking that day.
yeah. Do
But
you? Yeah, I mean, I work from home right now. I actually quit my job. Shouldn't have done it. I work freelance. I used to work freelance, and I would sit at home for all hours of the day on my computer, not saying a word. And then I'd go out and I would do comedy. And sometimes I would go out and comedians would talk to me, and my brain would be like, so like I haven't interacted with a person all day, and I would like say something stupid or like manic or just like out of 1,000 thoughts in my head from that day
yeah.
of like I saw this YouTube video, I read this news article or like whatever, and somebody come up to me, I'd be like, and I'd say
Yeah.
something, and people were like, this guy's so manic, and I'd be like, I haven't had human interaction in hours,
You
like,
feel it. There's definitely
oh
like a
yeah,
curve, like where you're like, oh, I'm warmed up yet. But once you talk to someone, like you go to a party all day,
yeah,
and then you come out and you see an Uber driver, and you're just like naturally
yeah,
talkative. You're like, oh, this works, this doesn't. So like, hey, I bought
yeah,
a new Xbox this week, and that's like a good conversation starter. It
sure,
gets you excited. It gets
yeah,
them excited to vicariously live through you. So then you just like pick like random things that worked in the past, and like the
yeah,
or not even specific words, but just like your energy. Like, oh, if I'm in this mood, then
absolutely.
conversations go better.
Well, it's like a hard part of comedy is sometimes you'll get to a show if you've been traveling all day, so it's like, yeah, I was just on a plane, not talking to anyone. And then I got to the club via a cab or whatever, sometimes not talking to anyone. And then you get there, and then it's like time to do an hour on stage, and you're
The
like
most intense form of social
the
interaction.
highest and the most pressure too.
Everyone's staring at
And they
you.
don't realize you've just been in your car in the airport in
You're
a
not
fucking view
socially
in the
warmed
sky.
up.
Yeah, you're absolutely cold. And then sometimes you show up to like whether it be in Austin or on the road, you show up to a comedy club and the person you have to talk to like in the green room is someone you don't know or someone you don't necessarily like or vibe with. And so like you're trying to get socially warmed up with them and they're not giving you anything. And then you're like having like a bad conversation before the show after having no conversation all day. And then you're like, ugh, I just had this, me and the feature actor, me and the other guy in the showcase didn't hit it off. Now I feel socially cold and it's like time to do an hour. It's like it's a hell that I live in. That
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how you handle it, but to me that's I can't do that. I mean, I do it, but it's like I get so manic sometimes.
Yeah, that's when you just have to go into straight Mitch Hedberg mode.
Yeah,
Be
yeah.
like, the cat the other day went to the outhouse and
Is that your Mitch Hedberg impression?
well, not his like cadence, but just like the words that he used.
Yeah, yeah,
He
yeah.
has a perfect like socially not warmed up act where he's just like
Yeah, yeah, that's so funny. Mitch Hedberg is the king of socially not warmed up comedy.
he's just been at the office all day.
Yeah, him and Stephen Wright, where they're just like, but Mitch Hedberg kind of because Stephen Wright's a little bit of a character. I mean, Mitch Hedberg's also a character, but his delivery is so like. I'm trying to think of like a Mitch Hedberg joke. You have a real like I don't know. I went black there. Uh, God, I can't even think of Mitch
Yeah, the
Hedberg.
couch is never a potato couch.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. There it is,
A couch is always a potato.
dude. That's what I love. I I love Rodney Dangerfield because he kind of had these like isms. You know what I mean? I tell you, I tell you. Oh, yeah, 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 like those. I get no respect. I
His
tell you, I tell you, I
noises.
tell you. Yeah,
Noises.
I liked. Yeah, well, it was. He would write in noises, and there's something so like I don't know, like so something like so socially warm about that. That like not every comic like has like the cadence to do, but like there's something like so it's almost like a meme where you see someone, a meme's funnier because everyone sees it, but like Rodney Dangerfield adjusting his tie after like doing like a scandalous joke or a joke falls flat. It's almost like a cue in to laugh, where it's like there's something so funny about like that. I tell you, I tell you, I tell you, I get no respect. I get no respect. While he's just ragging on his wife.
Yeah, he's being super mean.
Yeah, he is. But he gets to be super mean because he also gets no respect.
Hmm. He feels like the victim.
Rodney Dangerfield is the victim. Take that one to the bank.
I think the thing is that people like the noises because it's like you're getting to them not on a logical level, but just like this is how I feel. Like let me
Yeah.
help you feel a funny way like
Yeah.
I do.
Oh yeah.
And it gets them okay with like people cutting them off and people like bumping into them on the street, and it makes the world slightly less aggressive because then they just turn into Rodney Dangerfield. Like, oh, hey, which way you going, man?
Yeah. Well, it's like in the Midwest, I yell "ope" all the time. We're like, "Oh, oh, oh."
Yeah,
Like I literally I can't
that's
stop
so
myself.
funny. You're like pretending to be like alarmed, but you're actually saying, "Hey, watch out, you fuck."
That is what it is. Like or like if I like inconvenience on like I'm almost like trying to say sorry, but I'll be like, "Oh, oh, 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 oh," or like if I run through the door, so I go, "Oh," and it's just like me being like, "Sorry, fuck you," like all in one word.
Yeah.
It's like both I'm apologetic, but also I'm not apologetic. All in three letters. Phenomenal word economy.
Yeah, you're really fucking with their heads. It's like, what does he really mean? He's like making the correct noises in the situation. He's as submissive as he should be,
Submissive.
but he's not as submissive as a
Yeah.
polite as he
I'm
could be.
I'm oping during sex. I'm like, oh, oh, oh,
Oh,
oh,
watch out.
oh,
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 that's my
oh,
butthole.
oh, whoa, not there.
Hello.
Whoa. I get
Hey.
no respect.
You ever have this happen to you, fellas? You
Why
ever
the other
get
day I was getting the finger in my ass.
a That's the kind of life we live. Finger pops in your ass. What can you do?
Do you have a comedian who has like what's your favorite comedian's delivery? Do you have a comedian who like has a delivery that you really like or that like
Yeah,
you're interested? Who is it? That's a hard question.
Mark Normand.
Yeah,
Great delivery.
phenomenal delivery.
I don't get it.
Ah, oh, hey, oh,
What's
ah,
going on
ah,
with that?
comedy,
Comedy.
comedy.
That
Ah,
is
come on.
such a great
You're
captures the
great.
vibe of what comedy should be to him.
Ah,
The ideal version, yeah. What are you gonna do?
well, that's how it is.
I tell you.
That's a phenomenal answer. I love Dice Clay. I love Dice
I
Clay's
haven't seen any. Is he on TikTok?
Dice Clay?
Yeah.
No, he's a comedian of like the 80s and
I
90s.
know. I mean, I
Oh, okay.
heard like an album
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and I was like,
Dude,
"Oh, that's weird."
he
Like he
has,
was like fucking with the audience. It was funny.
yeah, dude, it's so funny.
He was like live at Dangerfields or whatever,
Yes.
and
Yeah,
it was like an
yeah,
off night.
yeah.
I heard
The
this story about it, but yeah, I heard it, heard that album. I was like, yeah, that's funny, but yeah, it's hard to like get a sense of it, I guess,
He got canceled in like 1999 or something like that. Is that 1999 or 1989?
for
But
doing what?
his whole act was he had a few things, but he like released like 7 albums in like 5 years. But his whole thing was he was like it was a character, and most of his fans don't realize it was a character. He's now out like very public on like it was doing a bit, but he would dress up in like a leather like over the top leather jacket, like big neck. He would wear sunglasses, fingerless glove, like an old biker, and he'd walk on stage. He'd be like, he'd smoke a cigarette. He'd do this. He'd go, and then he'd go, damn, fucking, hickory dickory dock, your bitch sucked my cock. He would do like nursery rhymes, but they'd
Yeah,
be
he'd
like
be really
dirty.
aggressive.
Yeah, and but it was like, yeah, what are you doing here? You sucking the dick or something? Yeah, I'm gonna
Be
go in your face.
irreverent.
Yeah, but he was just he would go, I'm gonna go in your face. Like,
So why did he get canceled?
well, there's only so much you can goo in someone's face before they get mad.
So they're like, ugh,
Yeah,
that's gross.
his whole his
Don't want you anymore.
his whole act was just like over the top sexist. Like I mean, he has a special where he goes back and forth on whether or not he wants hair on a pussy or not, like 8 different times.
Yeah.
It's on YouTube. It's like it's him in a dojo. Dude, it's the funniest special. He's wearing like unironically like a taekwondo, I don't know, karate robes
Yeah.
and a black belt, smoking a cigar in like the round. And he's like just doing crowd work, and it's like not even like great crowd work, but he's just like, "What are you, a whore or something? You going home with?" He's just called women whores. It's like the whole album is just.
So he
It's
got
just
canceled
garbage.
in '99.
Yeah, and he was the first ever comedian to do Madison Square Garden.
You know, he is the one that inspired George Carlin to do his little thing about like the thing about Andrew Dice Clay is that he's Jewish, and the people that he's appealing to, they're not very kind to Jews.
Yeah,
So I just say be careful if you're gonna. That's the kind of thing that you're gonna do. So I'm like, what was he doing?
well, that's the funny thing
Just
is,
being crude was like tapping into this
so
demographic.
he would play like
Did he ever say anything political?
yeah, sometimes, but it was mainly just like these dirty nursery rhymes. Like I'm trying to think of like Little Bo Peep. I know. I'm trying to think of like one of them. Uh,
Well, you already did.
yeah, he would just do these dirty nursery rhymes.
Yeah.
But the thing is he would pretend to be like a New Jersey Italian.
I know what he did. I've seen it before.
Yeah, but he was Jewish.
I
He
know
was a
there's
character.
more to it because I
Yeah,
know George Carlin got mad at him. So,
that's funny.
you know,
But yeah, I mean because he was this little Jewish kid from like the Bronx, but he's like I'm a New Jersey Italian, and it was like, well, his fans never. The funniest thing is like I'll be out hanging out with my dad, or like he'll be like with his friends or whatever. Not that I hang out with my dad ever or often, but whenever it happens, they're always like, "We love Dice Clay," and I'll be like, "But you do realize it's a character," and they're like, "No, it's not. He's for real." Like his actual fans, most of his fans, probably 85%, don't realize that it's a character.
well, I think they think that he is a character, but that character is true to who he is in a way that's deeper than
Yeah.
most people.
Wow. That's
So
deep.
it is a character, but it's also not a character at the same time. So yeah, what do you think about Israel Palestine?
Well, man, I uh, I think I think they're both beautiful this time of year.
Yeah, they're the same place.
Gaza
That's
Strip,
kind of the problem.
yeah,
Gaza. Yeah, that's hot.
more like wowza.
Wowza.
Give me that fertile land.
I think that there's this weird thing that IDF soldiers are doing is where they're posing with like laundry or sundry items or like lingerie items from the houses that they
Really?
invade. Yeah, it's like so like
Wow, I like you're actually talking about this unironically. I thought this was a bit. No, I want to hear what you have to
well,
say.
life is a bit, right?
Amen, brother. No, go on. I want to
For
hear this.
everything. Why not make a bit of the most salient topics, things that are actually happening that we could influence right now somehow?
Do you think it's a Hans Kim bit is what it's going to take to end a 1,000 year war?
Yeah, Jon Stewart's trying to do it.
He is trying so hard. That's a great point.
He's not trying that hard. He's trying every Monday.
Yeah, and nothing good happens on Mondays.
Which I guess is his kill Tony.
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
So he's doing great. You know, a lot of people respect him. But yeah, he has this weird way of like talking around things without really saying exactly what he means. But you can tell what he means.
yeah.
It's really interesting. But yeah, I think Israel
Israeli interesting.
Palestine, Israeli raining men.
All right.
I think it's weird because the thing with Israel Palestine is like they are like just flaunting it. They're like, look at this, we found your little
Yeah,
haram, little lingerie items and underwear and your
yeah,
women. It's like we're taking your shit. Like there's nothing you can do about it. They're like, it's not just a business transaction. They're not just trying to get the land. They're
yeah,
like, fuck you for trying to keep us from doing what we want
yeah. You
just by
know,
existing. Like we just dismiss you out of hand every way possible
but isn't that
just because they were there.
just 'cause but so I guess my question is, oh, I don't. Oh man, I'm gonna get myself in hot water here. Who cares? I don't have a career anyway. It doesn't fucking matter.
Let's zoom in on this.
Shouldn't war be a little bit terrible? Like, no,
But
no, no, no.
okay, so
but you're talking about
it doesn't have to be a
you
war.
should
You
invade
can't just
their
be like I'm
house.
doing a war now.
Yeah, but it's like they're invading their house and like they're taking their items and they're mocking them. But it's like, okay, but like if you're a soldier, right? Like presumably you have to be hyper motivated or hyper like the headspace you have to be in to be doing what you're doing. Like you have to really villainize the enemy.
So what do you think about
It's not a business trend. It's not like I have taken your village. It is now mine. Pleasure doing business. On to the next. It's like I brutally took your land. I dislike you as a people because that's why I'm trying to murder and destroy your entire livelihood. Like if you are on the lines as a soldier, like your mentality isn't like I'm taking this land as a part of my conquest point so I can set up further barracks and attain better resources for my troops. It's like if as an actual soldier, like your headspace has to be like fucking like insane.
Okay, so that's a great justification for war crimes. But like, like
It shouldn't happen.
shouldn't that not be the goal? Like
Yeah, but also war shouldn't be happening.
yeah, so you're like if we're gonna do it, we might as well just go whole hog and do the worst kind of war
Yeah,
crime.
but I hate when people are like yes, if
Well, the
as
thing
an
is
actual
that
soldier, you're in it. Like as
the
an
thing
actual
is
soldier, you have
that
to be
you're
in it.
like you're talking about a war that didn't need to happen, that was caused by Israel being like
Oh, yeah.
really
By the way, motives for
really bad with
I'm not talking
land.
about the war in like large. I'm just saying like in general as a soldier.
Yeah, I mean I can understand that, but
It's
don't you think
terrible.
like if you're gonna be a professional soldier
Professional
and you're gonna
soldier.
do this long term, do you really want to be seen doing that? You want to be
Yeah.
seen
No, you shouldn't. You're right. You're right.
raping and pillaging?
No, that's a terrible thing to do. But war in general is a terrible thing to do.
It's like it's like yeah, you could like convey a soldier to be like this crazy animal that just has to take and is tapped into the violent crazy side, but I think like if you look at the best soldiers, they're not the ones that are the most bloodthirsty or the most psychopathic. They're the ones that are
Yeah, but are we really sending our best soldiers?
well, the IDF is sending their soldiers.
Yeah. Well, that's on them then. I can't. I'm not responsible for the IDF.
But I think, yeah, I
No, but
think the
I think it's
IDF
fucked
is
up. By
is
the way,
doing that.
I'm not.
That it's like a crazy mentality
That's what I'm saying.
where they're
Like
like gonna do. They're also gonna take pictures and post it.
that's fucked
Like
up.
it's okay to do it. Like, oh hey, look. Like if they were
That's
just
fucked
like
up.
showing it to each other, but this is like,
No, posting it online is like the next level of fucking insane.
yeah.
Like, did you ever see? This is my favorite. Like, my favorite bit of Russian propaganda. But they were like bombing like Ukrainians in the pit or whatever. Like Ukrainians that were like in the pit, and like they have video surveillance all the way down, right? Before they even launch it, and they cut in, and there's two men soldiers, and one of them's blowing one of them in the pit, and they drop a missile on him. But there's like a video of like you can see like two men in the front line blowing each other. This might have been like
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it was real footage. If this is like a parody piece or like a staged piece on the internet, I'm gonna be
I've heard
so
about
mad.
this
'Cause I'm gonna
footage.
sound so dumb. But it's like they found like two men blowing each other, and then they
Yeah.
dropped a missile on it because they were like. But by the way, that's a next level of like modern warfare is so like online disrespectful because it's like them being like, dude, who are these two gay Ukrainians? Also, they're dead. I'm so sorry to their families. But it's like Russia was like, oh,
I
you know
thought it
what's
was Russians.
I don't know. It could be. I really don't know. It
Okay.
might be. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean,
I'm
nowadays
so dumb. I don't actually take me as like an authority on anything war related.
nowadays it's like everything is online and you can convey exactly how you feel about someone
But
through
the
the
weird
tool of online
that's what I'm saying.
propaganda.
The weird is like we have to do the physical war, and before it was like we have to win like the media war on the radio or like once a night on television. But now it's like you know what'd be crazy is if we killed them and also got footage of them being gay so we could mock them. Like you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's fucked up. Is like Russia or Ukraine or Israel, Palestine, whoever the fuck it was. When they dropped that missile, they were probably like, "Oh, we got to kill two people," but they were probably so excited that they got that video because they're like, "This
Yeah.
is going to be talked about
That's
on
worth
Hans Kim's
more.
podcast someday."
Yeah, it's gonna spread across the world.
Like that's gonna
It's gonna
send a,
be
a more condescending message to their people.
it's gonna kill more than just people. It's gonna kill the idea of Russia being straight.
Yeah, which is huge for Russia.
Yeah. So do you wanna end it?
Sure. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
So subscribe to my YouTube. I could really use the followers.
We did an hour and 11 minutes.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, you ended it if you
Sorry
want.
I was a little uh
We went in a war
slow.
at the end. It makes me nervous because I
I
really
thought there
want
was
to
a lot of
laugh.
great bits in there.
Thanks, man. I thought you had some shining moments too.
Yeah, we should get to work clipping it up.
Huge.
See you on the TikToks.
You good, man? I'm sorry. I was
Thanks for doing it, man.
all good. I'm